Well, good day, everyone. Praise the Lord. Yet once again, it's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr., coming to you with another edition of Surviving the Holidays. We hope and pray in every single way and each and every day that you have been blessed with our Surviving the Holiday series. I have with me my partners in grief, y'all, Ray, the grief coach extraordinaire, Dr. Ashlyn Douthit, licensed marriage family therapist guru, and the Reverend Dr. Marcus Luther Fisher, the King. I mean, he's just all of that wrapped up together because he's so phenomenal. And we are here today. Hope you've been blessed by everything that we do. But we're here today, y'all. We're here today with another edition of Surviving the Holidays. And today, we're going to talk about express yourself. Express yourself. Now, Ray and Ashton may be a little too young to remember that Salt and Pepper song, Mark. Express yourself. You remember that? Express yourself. Gotta be you and only you, baby. Y'all remember that? Okay, my fault. I think NWA had a song, Express Yourself. Express Yourself.
That's the one I
Okay.
was thinking of.
You remember that one? Okay, yeah, that's that
Yeah, I can remember
NWA's
that
right
one.
there. You remember that one? Okay. Your parents must have played it because I know you was too young for that one. But today, we're going to talk about the importance of expressing yourself. There are so many different ways as you grieve, as you mourn, as you navigate through this holiday season, you can express yourself, how you're feeling, what you're dealing with, what you're doing. I just want to tell a quick story. I've told you before when my father passed away, he passed away December 3rd, 2011. And I'll never forget, y'all, it was after the holidays, it was after Christmas, navigated through that. But I felt some type of way going into 2012. I felt like I was leaving him behind in 2011. And I really struggled in that aspect crossing over to the new year. So I never forget, I sat down, I took the time, and I wrote my father a letter. I wrote him a letter and just poured out my heart, everything I felt, everything I was feeling, everything that I wanted to say, didn't have the opportunity to say. And I went out to the graveyard, to the cemetery, and I read it to him. I stood there and I cried. Never forget, it was New Year's Eve, and I just cried, cry. I just cried. I read the letter. I had my moment, and I got it out. I got it out, and I was able to express myself, and that was something that was very helpful and therapeutic for me to have that opportunity to express myself in that particular manner. I know that there are a million different ways that people who are grieving, who are dealing with loss, can express themselves. What do y'all have for the people as it relates to how they can express themselves? We'll start out with Dr. Douthit. Talk to us about expressing yourself.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I really focus on a lot in my work is helping people understand that suppressing your emotions doesn't make them go away. They are still there. So as much as it may be difficult or challenging to experience certain emotions, it's healthy. It's a part of life. And it's a skill that we all need to learn because if we suppress them, they are eventually going to come out and likely in ways that you don't like and don't want them to. So that can then manifest as physical ailments, like mental health or emotional challenges, or just really it can span the gamut of what that could look like. It can impact your relationships, your job performance, that they will surface in some way. It's just a matter of time of when and how they'll surface. So you can utilize that and express it in like physical activity. It could be maybe you want to start a practice of yoga, or you want to go to the gym, or you want to do a mindful journal that you want to start doing. But there can be ways of expressing those emotions in a healthy and constructive way. So that way you're not then having to not only deal with the emotions themselves, but then you're having to deal with the consequences of what's happened because you've suppressed them. So it's just a matter of trying to test some things out and seeing what works for you. What works for somebody is a means of expressing themselves may not work for you. Maybe somebody's really into dance and movement, and that's helpful for them. But for you, you like, I have two left feet. I don't want to do that. So I want to go to a support group where I can talk with people who have a similar experience with me. So overall, it's just a matter of trying it and seeing what works for you and what doesn't, and not suppressing those emotions.
You know, that's so good, Dr. Douthit, and maybe you can even speak to this a little bit. Maybe I was reading earlier on something else that I was looking up, and I was looking at this whole concept of denial. And I was reading where denial is actually a coping mechanism. And that some aspects of it is good. It gives you time to adjust to distressing situations, but staying in a state of denial, it can be unhealthy. And I
Mm-hmm.
was reading where it was talking about that people enter into a state of denial, trying to protect themselves from and refusing to acknowledge or accept the truth about something that's happening and something that's taking place. Could it be that people try to suppress their feelings because they are in denial and they don't want to deal with the truth or the facts or the reality of what's happened and what's taken in place? Is there some truth to that, or can you speak to that a little bit?
Hmm. Yeah, it could definitely be suppression tied to not being in a place where you're ready to acknowledge the reality of the situation. It could be tied to feeling like you don't have time or the opportunity to be vulnerable, or like let your guard down. Or like, I got kids, I got a job, and I have stuff that I have to do, so I don't have time to allow myself to feel this way or to experience these emotions. It can also be tied to culture and upbringing in terms of how you view emotions and what expressing those emotions look like. So if maybe it's been modeled for you that we don't cry, we don't talk about things that are sad or upsetting, we just push through and keep it moving, that's your default. That's what
Wow.
you've learned to do in terms of managing challenges and stressors. So it's like you don't know anything different at that
Right.
point. So that person may be looking at it as, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I've seen.
Right.
So I'm just going to kind of fall in line. And it
Mm.
may only be when that person starts to experience some challenges from that, of like, man, my sleep has been terrible. I've
Yeah.
had constant headaches. Like, I've been snapping at everybody every day. But they may start to realize, like, okay, something is not working for me. Something is off here. So
Mm.
those certain things may be the red flags for people to say, like, okay, maybe the way that I've been handling this, or the way that I was taught to handle this, may not work for me. And I may need to try some things. So that may be where they start testing out the different ways of expressing their emotions. Maybe verbalizing how you feel is hard. Maybe it's easier for you to just maybe create a playlist for yourself that maybe has songs that kind of highlight how you feel. I've done things with clients where I'm like, hey, you know what? If naming it out loud is hard, why don't you color? How about you get an adult coloring book and just pick whatever emotions you're having. If you have 5 emotions, pick a color for each of those emotions, and then just color a coloring sheet to represent like how those emotions are showing up for you, or like how much sadness you're feeling right now, or how much anger. And even just starting there can be helpful in finding some better outlets versus just suppressing it.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Dr. Fisher, talk to us. Express yourself.
Sure. So expressing yourself, as we all know, is very critical. But timing is also important. I think about, expression. It's like the cushion. It's like the pillow. You can get a lot of things out expressing yourself, but I go back and thinking about myself specifically. My wife and I, we were a part of a program at Riley's Children's Hospital called Families as Faculty Program. And this was a program where we had the opportunity to um, provide a forum, or I should say, there was a forum provided for us to be able to tell our story about our daughter, to medical professionals and the situation as far as what happened to her and what transpired or whatnot. As a result of having such of an opportunity, it was really a means by which for us to express ourselves as to truly what happened to her, because it was after she had passed away, but from cradle to grave, born perfectly normal, a virus attacking her heart, her passing away. But our interactions right then with the medical professionals who we had a lot of concerns with in the process, but the long or the short of the story is it was our avenue, it was our opportunity or our means to being able to truly express ourselves. Now, mind you, at the beginning of this, when we were approached, I was very standoffish. Don't want to have
Mhm.
anything to do with it, wasn't ready. Whereas my wife was. And it was kind of her coddling me in the process to kind of move me forward to where by the time the chance or the opportunity presented itself for us to do our first presentation, I was ready. But what happened as a result of the more and more we did them, the relief, the cushion, the opportunity of me being able to relax myself in the moment of having been able to tell the story, um, it was phenomenal in the end result to me being able to then hear backwards from those, whether doctors, nurses, whomever it was, the medical professionals, then to being able to talk to other parents who then had children that were um, disabled or whatever, to learn how best to navigate through the waters in the hospital about situations that they had come up against. um, wow, I have been able to kind of, through my expression, help them. So, all in all, that being said, I didn't know what I was doing, one,
Mm.
helping myself, but then yet to being able to help someone else. So, it's therapeutic. You don't necessarily
Mm.
even know what you're doing, especially for myself, but yet at the same time, I found that I really was an outlet for myself. But truthfully, it's an honest self-expression. It's your own way to express yourself about what has transpired or what has happened to you. And then finally for me, I find it to be my cushion. It was my leaning post. It was something that I was comfortable in, having done it over and over and over again, to say to myself, I should feel comfortable to express and to share the story in reference to the life of my daughter. And I was able to get it out. To whereas today, people ask the question, how many kids do you have? And I'll say two, and they'll say two. Well, they only know Blake. And
Mhm.
I say, yeah, my daughter Brianna, she's passed. And they'll say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. There's no need to be sorry. She's fine. But at the end of the day, had I probably not expressed myself,
Right.
I probably would have said or been locked into, there's just Blake, because I didn't want to address that
Yeah.
side. So
Yeah.
that expression is critical. And like I said, now it's a cushion where I can just lean on it and be comfortable in the moment.
Man, that is so powerful. So I heard you say it's therapeutic, and it's something that helped you even to navigate through the pivotal circumstance that you faced. And you started out by saying it's all about timing too at the beginning.
Mhm.
And I think that's so very important because yeah, you want to get to the point to where you can express yourself. You can talk about it, you can deal with it. All of that is a process to help you to navigate through it. And it's about time. And maybe you're not there yet, and that's fine.
Right.
But you want to have the opportunity because it is therapeutic. It's
Mhm.
therapeutic for you to be able to express yourself, talk about how you're feeling, talk about what happened, talk about, and this is across the board, y'all, whether it's the loss of a job, the loss of a loved one, whatever the case may be. Dr. Doubt say you can't suppress it. You can't hold it in. It's gonna go somewhere. It's gonna do something.
Yeah.
So you want to have an opportunity and an avenue where you can get that out. Come on, Ray, talk to us, grief coach extraordinaire. Talk to us.
So for whatever reason, this is what came up for me, and I'm just gonna try to go with it.
Uh oh.
Think about the Grinch, right?
Come on, Grinch.
The Grinch suppressed, right? He
Yeah.
suppressed the fact that he, was teased, bullied in school or what have you, whatever that looked like. And because of that, his quote unquote expression came out in being mean, right? Like he hated Christmas. He wanted to,
Come on.
take everybody's stuff, make sure that everybody felt as miserable as he did until someone else expressed themselves and he was able to see another side of that thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's a matter of us expressing ourselves regardless of what that feeling is, because sometimes we tend to look at that and think, oh, that expression is only supposed to be, oh, I'm happy today, oh, I'm joyous today. And I would even take it further than the toxic positivity, but still along those lines, right? We don't always like to look at the fact that sometimes we can't find that silver lining that we're looking for, right? And that expression is that we're angry that so and so passed, we're angry that we lost the job. I think about the people, I think it's Mayfield, Kentucky right now. They don't have homes to go to, right? Like they literally lost everything. They are experiencing grief, and it's right around the holiday season. What expression do they have right now? You know what I mean? And so I look at it in the sense where it's the both and of it. Going back to the Grinch. The Grinch was hurt. He needed a therapist and he didn't have one, but he had that little dog that followed him around and all these little things that so that other people could feel what he was feeling, even though he wasn't feeling it, right? He wasn't allowing himself to really feel that thing. And so I think it's a matter of us being honest with our feelings. Pastor Duncan, you have talked about that throughout these 21 days. Like whenever you talk about the feelings you have felt, you are sure to say that you were honest about what you were feeling. You allowed yourself to feel it. So I think it's about us allowing ourselves to feel what we feel. Like you said, Ashley, not to ignore it and not to suppress it, because it's going to come back, right? And so I think it's a matter of allowing ourselves to express whatever that is. Maybe you do, take a page from a coloring book, but you don't want yellows and pinks and greens. You just want blacks and grays and blues, and that's okay, right? Like whatever that expression is for you, be gracious and gentle enough with yourself to allow yourself to feel that, so that you can get to the reds and the purples, right? So that you can get to Cindy Lou Who's house instead of being up in the mountains somewhere being mean about Christmas. You can be at the table with the family eating, whatever that might look like for you. So I think it's just a matter of being honest and being able to balance whatever those feelings are.
Express yourself. Look, y'all, look. We hope y'all been blessed. It's been phenomenal for me. I hope it's been phenomenal for the panel and for everybody that has had the opportunity to watch it. Y'all, their tips, their tools, their techniques, their takeaways. I believe in being practical. I believe in providing content that is applicable, something that you can take and do right now. And there were so many nuggets dropped throughout this particular session that I want you to be able to take them and express yourself. Look, we need y'all to tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow's our last day, Christmas Eve. We want you to tune in tomorrow. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Thank y'all for coming along the journey. Go back, replay this, tag somebody that needs to hear it, send it to them. Let them know it's all right to express yourself. We love y'all with the love of the Lord. And as we always say, small steps, they always lead to great distances. Now, let's go.